Hey guys, 4C Sis here. Hope you had a great day and that you're keeping warm. I will keep my friends in the Northeast in my prayers. This morning, Monday morning of all things, we had some wacky weather that we're dealing with here in Georgia also, and we are not as prepared, as our friends are in the Northeast. So, of course, the express bus that I take into the downtown area where I work wasn't operating this morning. So it was, of course, an instant fiasco, and my mood was immediately shot and so forth. But it turns out that there was one part of our transit system that was operating, which allowed me to basically take a bus to the train station and then take literally maybe a 4-minute train ride into work. So it all worked out. But while I was taking this different route into work, I was really stressed out and really ticked off, really pissed off, because it just so happens that where I went to take this one type of bus shares the same parking lot as the bus company that said we're canceling service today. And so immediately I'm like, well then, if these buses are able to run, why aren't you guys? But that's another video. But as I sat down on the bus, and the bus driver was very chipper, by the way, I was really just sort of festering and just going, God, I'm just so sick of this, and why did this happen? I don't understand their thinking, and yada, yada, yada. And then I immediately said, okay, just stop it. Just stop it right now. And because all that whining and complaining and all that negative energy that you're devoting to being aggravated is not going to change anything, number one. So I sat down and I said, okay, well, let's just think about this. And of course, I was with the trusty notebook, and I wrote down, I don't know what made me do this. I just wrote down on this piece of paper from my trusty notebook, this is part of a great journey. Embrace it. Just came off the top of my head. And once I wrote that down, it seemed like a sense of calm came over me. And I was like, okay, winter doesn't last forever in anybody's life, hopefully. This is just part of the journey. You gotta go through it. There is an alternative, but you don't like the alternative because you're not going to be coming back from the dead. So just embrace it. And then as I decided to develop that mental posture, then I thought about, I don't know, it just hit me, things that I was grateful for at that moment. And at that point it was about, I don't know, let's just say 7:20. And I was looking around at people on the bus, whatever, and I thought to myself, okay, well, number one, you have a job that will allow you to pay to get on the bus and to pay to get on the train. And how about, by the way, you have a job to go to. That's number one. Number two, you're lucky enough to have a family member that even brought you this far. That actually should be number one. But then I started going through this exercise about, okay, yeah, this morning sort of sucked. It starts off a little rough. And it was like, number three, you're not homeless. And so forth and so on. Then, once I calmed myself down and I started thinking about things to be grateful for, then I said, okay, let's look at, just do what I'm trying to do is, and I don't know if you ever do this, but sometimes I'll write down a list of everything I need to do. And then I get mad at myself when I don't do everything on that list. So what I'm trying to do is list one or two things that I know I can do in a day that will let me continue on my journey to where I'm trying to arrive. So I said, okay, sis, do not let stress derail you. Don't let it distract you from what you really need to do today, because you got a lot of important things that you need to do. And you need to stay focused. You just don't have time to get unfocused by whining and all this negative energy. And by the time I got to the train station, then I got off the train and I had to walk through a certain area that has like a food court. I was in such a good mood that I even stopped and, bought some Chick-fil-A and everything for my coworkers and so forth. Because I consciously decided to change my attitude towards what was going on. And that was my knee. I know this is a little rambly, but when you get into a situation, no matter how frustrating, how aggravating, how sad it could be, how emotionally trying, how mentally draining, or whatever, you may want to try what I did, was just basically stop yourself, or just literally consciously say to yourself, stop it. Just stop it. And I don't care if you got to write something down in the palm of your hand with an invisible pen, or jot something down on a piece of scratch paper or whatever, but do something to distract yourself from the negative thought, from that feeling of like lack of control, because that was part of it too. And say, okay, in this moment that I'm in, that I'm feeling this negative feeling, or that I'm feeling overwhelmed, what can I be grateful for in this moment right now? And trust me on this, it will make a big difference. It did for me this morning, and it actually changed the entire course of my day. Because once I got my mind right, by the time I got to work, I was in a good mood. I'm telling people, hey, look, here's Chick-fil-A if you want a little snack because it's cold. I was able to focus on, my duties, number one, and then a couple of other things that I needed to do from a personal standpoint. And thank God I did, because I actually had a very important phone call that I wanted to make sure that I made. And when I made that phone call, something else that I had been sort of stressing out over, I found out that I'd already achieved most of that goal. So I don't have as much of a burden on my back. But if I'd still been in that very stressed out, in that very negative mode, and just walking and saying, this day sucks, and what's going on with this weather, and why can't we get this commuter transit stuff together, I would have been so focused on festering on that I may have, lost time that I needed to make that important phone call just to deal with something of my own. So I know it's a little rambly, but try to keep in mind when you're in the midst of emotion like that, try to stop yourself, even if you can do it for 5 seconds, and say, what can I be grateful for, at least right now? And I can tell you, number one, you can start off with that you're alive. That's number one. Well, stay warm and have a great night, and I'll talk to you later.